What is happening, YouTube? It's California Prepper. Well, today we're going to be talking about some blades, and one blade in particular, the Spyderco Military Clone. Now, knife isn't as smooth as a real military. One of the big downfalls of the clone market, in my opinion, is they cannot get the smoothness of the originals down. Now, this knife it's new in box. I've had it for quite a while. It was a gift, I think. I'm not sure how I got this. I sure didn't buy it, but I googled it, looked on AliExpress, and these things go for about 20 bucks on AliExpress. And I want to see what the big difference is between this blade and an actual military. Now, as far as specs, they got it pretty spot on. The blade, 4-inch blade, 3 3/4 inch cutting edge, 5.45 inch handle, so you have about a 5.5 inch handle. Overall, you're looking at 9.45 inches, about 9.5 inch blade. It's a big mucker, it really is. Looks like a military, feels like a military. One of the biggest differences is the weight. It's about an ounce heavier than the real Spyderco military. But if you don't have them side by side, hand in hand, or you're not a military fan that's had one of these before, you probably wouldn't even notice a difference. It's not a heavy knife for the size, but it is an ounce heavier than the original. Or the real one, I should say, not the original. Real nice knife overall. Few things I've noticed that I don't care for, and I'll mention those here in a minute. But just looking the knife over, I mean, 20 bucks. I have to give it to him. The jimping's nice. Sorry guys, neighbors out. Beautiful, beautiful morning. Now, I don't have my military anymore. Traded it a while back for one hell of a deal. But I do miss it. And having previously owned the military, carried it, and used it for a long time, I'm pretty good about remembering details of knives. Man, I need some new gloves. Anyhow, this knife, some things that I noticed right off the bat after pulling it out of the box. The DLC coating is not a DLC coating. It's more of a glossy spray-on finish. I have my Para 2 back here to show you guys what a real DLC coating looks like. And of course, it's been used, so it's a little rougher than a new one. But you guys can definitely tell the difference. The real DLC has more of a matte finish to it, minus all the scrapes and scratches. And this has more of that glossy, just black paint finish to it. So I'm sure when we put this thing to the test, that's gonna rub right off. It's not gonna look so hot. Speaking of testing, this thing is gonna be put through the reamer here very, very shortly. We're gonna be doing some cut tests with this. We're gonna be cutting a bunch of different stuff, and then we're gonna be doing some hard use testing on it as well. Again, this is the military clone, so I'm not gonna be busting up $160+ knife. But for 20 bucks, I think it's worth taking a look and seeing just what this knife can take. I'm sure the blade steel is not S30V like it claims. I don't really think you can fake the G10 handles. It is a different color. And I know even on the Spyderco website it says that your Digicam handles will be different, no two scales are the same, and so on and so forth. But when you compare them, you can definitely see the difference. This one's a lot lighter and just looks off. Now, of course, this is the Para 2 again, hence the major size difference. But I have owned a military in the past and did a review on it. Carried it for for a while, and it feels like the military, sort of, but then again it doesn't. Came spot on centered, or sort of ish. Um, Definitely doesn't have the action of a Spyderco military. The weight difference, this is quite a bit heavier, about an ounce heavier than the actual military. Um, the lanyard tube is terrible. It rattles, and no, that's not the blade. The one thing I can say that's on this knife side is the lockup. It locks up like a champ. There's no play anywhere. But that lanyard tube and the rattle just drives me crazy. Drives me up a wall. You have a plastic bag spacer halfway down the handle. When you have a handle this long, you have to have a back spacer or some standoffs, something. Otherwise, it's just gonna collapse under your grip. And this lanyard tube, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it really, you can see it on the camera. It flexes down there. So that's about the only give on this knife. Another thing I noticed is the hardware on here sucks. I tried loosening it up to get the action a little smoother, but it's not happening. Most of these Chinese knives, the hardware is just cheesy. Now, it didn't strip out right away, but it did just keep spinning in place, so really no point in trying. Other than that, I mean, it's a nice knife. It came razor sharp out of the box. Jimping on here is amazing. I know that's terrible because it's a clone, but they did great on the jimping, in my opinion. Again, it's razor sharp. I'm not sure the blade steel, because they always claim to be something they're not, but I'm sure it's around the line of 8CR13 MOV or an AUS 8, something like that. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. But we're going to be putting it to the test. We're going to be cutting a whole bunch of stuff. I got a list of stuff I'm going to be doing, and then we're going to be putting it through some hard use testing and all that good stuff. Big shout out to Blade HQ for doing a video on the real military versus the paramilitary too. Loved that video. It was awesome. They're both great knives, and if this was a real one, boy, would I be stoked. One thing they did get right as well on the clone is they chamfered the G10 handle to where it's very comfortable in hand. You really don't get any hot spots even without gloves. It feels great in hand. If it was a little smoother, man, I would be so happy. Hopefully, after the break-in process, it'll smoothen up, I guess. Loosen up, smoothen up, whatever you want to call it. But it does flip out pretty nice. Let me take these gloves off to show you what I'm talking about here. Old, dirty yard working hands. So you can get it to flick out, but it's not the smoothest action. You do have some phosphorus bronze washers in there. Again, the weight is one of the most noticeable differences, other than the off color on the G10 and the glossy looking blade. But it is what it is. For 20 bucks, better than anything you're gonna get, you know, down at the gas station. Definitely not a Saturday night special knife. It seems pretty solid, and that's why I want to test it out. Really excited to see how this knife does. I'm not trying to break the knife. I know it's a clone. I know people hate them, but a knife's a knife, and if the apocalypse happened tomorrow, I could trade this for a bag of rice. This is gonna cut, it's gonna slice, it's gonna do some work. Is it gonna be as good as a real military and hold up 10, 15 years? Probably not, but it is a knife, and it will get the job done. The immediate job, that is. This isn't gonna be a knife you're gonna be able to pass down to your kids, anything like that. A real military? Perhaps. Man, they did do nice on that grind. It is razor sharp. Cannot wait to do some cut tests with that. So I hope you guys will stick around and check out the cut test video as well as the hard use video. Real excited to test it out and see how it holds up. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like button, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cali P, I'm out of here.